What's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to review the Eovan GTS Carbon Super. In this video we will go over the specs of the board and talk about some pros and cons later on of my final thoughts about the board. And let's get right to it. Starting off with dimensions, this board is 45 inches in length, 12.5 inches in width, and 6.5 inches in height. What I like about the board is that it has a very high ground clearance, so this board will roll over anything 100%. The board weight is 30 pounds, and it's very thin, it's not too bulky, and the board is easy to pick up. The deck is a maroon red carbon fiber deck, which looks stunning in my opinion. No other electric skateboard has a red carbon fiber deck. With this nice maroon red carbon fiber deck, the max load they advertised is 286 pounds. The trucks that this board uses is a double kingpin truck. Like I've said before, double kingpins are really great for carving, and the reason why they use double kingpin is so it's easier to carve with these large electric skateboards. But I have said before that double kingpin could be really unstable at higher speeds, but Eovan has actually made a solution by adding a metal spacer on the bottom bushing of each side of the double kingpin trucks, so it actually makes the board more stable. I did have to tighten it a little bit, but I'm still able to get that carvability, and I'm able to be stable at higher speeds. Keep in mind, no other electric skateboard company does this. The price tag of this board, from the cheapest end, it's around $1,499, so pretty much $1,500, and the most expensive option is $1,699. So you have a lot of options you could choose. The option I have today is the Eovan board with the RS 125mm wheels, 5-inch rubber wheels, and the 175mm titanium silver electroplated wheels. They're 7-inch pneumatic Sunmate tires. They are actually pretty grippy. They're really grippy wheels. I like it a lot. They definitely keep the board higher too. I already have 200 miles on this board, and the rear wheels, they don't even look worn out, which is really good. It is pretty good in off-roading as well. It could lose traction, but overall the tires are good. When it comes to the RS wheels, the rubber wheels, a little bit too hard in durometer. I'm not the biggest fan of rubber wheels because I would just rather have tires. I don't see a difference. You just get a little bit more range. I understand why they use rubber wheels because of the torque and everything. The pulleys are actually metal. There's also a little rubber cap for the inserts when you put it into the wheel. There's a little rubber piece on top of it, I guess, so there's more grip when you accelerate. However, both of these wheels are great at the end of the day, and also there's many other wheel options you could try which will make the board perform great as well. Now moving on to the electronics, the very most important compartment of any electric skateboard is the battery, and this battery is an 852 watt-hour 12S4P Panasonic 21700 cells. Pretty much every all-terrain electric skateboard right now is using 12S batteries. Some are going a little bit higher. Riding with this battery, I have no complaints about it. The battery has no sag. The battery works perfectly fine. With this large battery, you definitely need a very fast charger as well, which luckily Eovan has done with their 5-amp fast charger. You could definitely charge this board around 3 to 4 hours, which is perfect if you have to go on a trip and you quickly need to charge up somewhere just to get that bit of extra range. Now the ESC that this board uses is a VESC. They call it Eovan VESC. This actually makes the board stand out really well. I like what they did making it VESC because most boards out there are Hobbywing, Lingy. They all use the same ESCs, just different amps, different specs, but Eovan decided to use a VESC, and the remote on this ESC, the remote design is honestly my favorite. I actually love the remote, and the fact that it's a color LED screen, that actually makes it everything better. It's like the little things that can make any electric skateboard better. With this remote, you could actually customize your acceleration, your launch. You could pretty much customize each mode. There's a calibration on the remote, which is pretty cool, and it has 4 speed modes. It has L as low mode, D as drive, S as sport, and R as race mode. When you go too fast, at some point, I think around 25 miles per hour, your speedometer, the numbers will turn red as a warning sign that you're going too fast, which is pretty cool as well. One of the most important things I would like to say about this remote is that the remote battery and the board board battery both use percentages. Now more companies need to use percentages. There are some companies that use percentages, but we need to see more companies ditch the old bars and actually start using percent, which is just more accurate, gives the rider more comfort of how far they should be able to go and when to turn back exactly. Now motor specs on this board, they are 6374 170 kV 3500 watt motors combined with 7000 watts of peak power. Now motor specs generally do not matter at all. They do not matter because it's not about the motors that deliver the power, it's more about the battery and the ESC of how much current it's able to push into those motors. With all these components, the hill climb they advertise is 46 to 50%, which I have no doubt it will definitely be able to climb up any grade hill. It would have no problem at all. And the top speed of this board is 30 to 37 miles per hour. With the 175s, I got the max speed of 33 miles per hour in race mode, and with the RS 125mm wheels, I got a top speed of 35 miles per hour. So pretty scary, pretty fast speeds, and you should definitely be careful. If you do want to be safe going that fast, be sure to check out Nobleman Tech, where they make protective gear, helmet gear, any type of gear for e-skating or anything other PEV related. I'll have the link below. You could go check out their products and the discount code as well. You'll save some money off, which will help you out and me on my end. The range Eovan claims is around 28 miles to 40 miles. Now let's just scrap that, because any electric skateboard out there, they advertise their range to be numbers of that high, and in order to get that range, you would have to go 5 to 10 miles per hour on a flat surface, nice weather. You have to like weigh at least under 180 pounds, no hills. So these boards are tested under really nice conditions, nice and slow. Now what range does this board actually get besides the advertised range? Because the advertised range doesn't really matter. So as you can see on the chart laid out, you can see the range for the tires and the rubber wheels going 25 to 30 miles per hour with the different temperatures laid out. But yeah, generally the rubber wheels will have a little bit more range. They'll get a little bit more range than the tires since it's a smaller diameter, but it doesn't make the largest difference at all. And also you will see here a range test done with casual riding around 15 to 20 miles per hour. Now with the specs out the way, let me show you guys my final thoughts of the board. Now here are my final thoughts on the board. The bearings are actually really good. Now a lot of people don't take account into bearings, but bearings should be your number one concern if you don't get a lot of range or your board's not going very fast, because crappy bearings could actually add a lot of resistance to your board and lower the range as well. Another pro I would like to mention is the truck. That metal spacer they added in the truck, I haven't seen any other electric skateboard brand do that, so I'm very glad they added this metal spacer, which will add more stability and still feels like a double kingpin truck. And lastly, that fast charger definitely helps when you're in the city. That 5 amps fast charger, it will definitely charge your board up really quick. Under 3 to 4 hours, you can even charge it up for an hour. You will still get extra range, just enough range if you need to get somewhere. Alright, let's go over some of the cons for this board. The deck is honestly very flat. It is a little too flat. The middle portion of the deck, the W concave, there's really no concave. There's no flares on it, which is not a problem for standing straight on the board. But if you were racing with this board or doing aggressive turns at high speeds, there's not really any deck flares to kind of hold your feet in. I wish they would add more drop down as well. It is not the biggest problem. You could definitely add a newbie foot stop, which will definitely help your front foot to stay on the board and it won't slide off. Another con was riding this board. After the battery percentage was like below like 50%, 40%, the board would get really underpowered. Now I don't think it's the battery's fault nor the motor's fault. I think it just has to do with the VESC. So gladly Eovan is now switching over to Hobbywing with their new board that's actually coming out, which is the Eovan GTO SILO, which will now have gear drive, which is a game changer, Hobbywing ESC, better tires. The deck will actually have flares now, a little bit more drop down. So Eovan is definitely listening to their customers, and I'm glad that they are actually making all these minor problems improve and the board could turn out into an even better board, because this board has a lot of potential in my opinion, and I'm glad that they're doing this. But yeah, that wraps it up. This board has been out for a year. They have made minor improvements, which I'm glad, and I'm very excited to see what this new board will have to offer us. Make sure to follow me on my social medias, on my Instagram and TikTok. I'm on Instagram regularly. If you have any questions, concerns, be sure to comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.